Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where it is now time for the Uefa Champions League. And I've got to say, I'm so excited here to kick off our Champions League campaign again. We're motivated, we are excited, we want to go one step further and more this season, and it all kicks off here, up against Newcastle, live from St James's Park. And in today's video, there's lots to come. You know, we're going to be talking about the lineup from Hansi Flick. There's lots of big decisions that need to be made. We're going to be talking about the threat that Newcastle can pose if we allow it. It is all on the way. Get yourselves ready. Get yourselves hyped. And let's do this. But ahead of this mighty Champions League clash, I would like to ask all of you guys, do you shop online? Would you like to save some money? Because today's video is coming to you courtesy of Cooper. Because yeah, out there right now, there's so many different cashback options for you. I think we've all heard recently about what went on with a company I can't say the name of, but I can tell you that bees create it. I can also say that we saw the end recently of cash rewards. So why not here opt for a more reliable, more well-rounded option in Cooper? Because what they do is that they combine cashback with coupons, and I would certainly look there. For instance, if you're booking a holiday online right now, maybe you're booking a trip to Barcelona. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're planning on visiting the Spotify Camp Nou in about 10 years when it's all done, maybe. But yeah, maybe you're booking a trip, and it would be perfect for that there, because what you're going to get is a huge amount of cash back on your stay. And not only that, you're also then going to get supplied with so many different coupons to help you get money off in the first place, guys. So Cooper here really combining the best of both worlds, helping you save money on whatever you are buying online. And if you just follow the link down below, that's going to take you straight over there to Cooper. It's completely free, and by checking it out, you will be helping the channel in the process. Thank you to all of you guys. Because indeed, guys, make no mistake about it, on Thursday night, I don't know, Thursday, it's the Champions League. Why are we playing on a Thursday? This is not the Europa. But on Thursday night, we are going to be playing in a phenomenal atmosphere inside of St James's Park there. There's going to be over 50,000 fans inside the stadium, and it's going to feel like a true European tie. And to be honest, that's what you want in this competition, especially right here, early days in the competition this year. You want to get a feel for what's to come. You want to test yourselves in the most brutal of atmospheres. You want to be tested physically, mentally, and I think we're going to go through all of these different challenges against Newcastle, and that is only a good thing here. We are going to understand where Barca are. You know, how are we competing right now? How is our level? Can we match the intensity that is required? Can we step up in the big moments? And of course, with several key absences in this Barca team. Because heading into this Champions League clash, Barca will not be able to call upon Gavi in midfield. He remains absent right now with that knee discomfort. It is still not subsided at this stage, and he will remain on the sidelines for now. We will also not be able to call upon Alejandro Balde at left back, and that is a big miss here. Once again in the Champions League, remember at the back end of last season against Inter, we're without him, and we really did miss him. So how can we step up now in his absence this time around? But of course, the big absence that will get all of the headlines, there is no Lamine Yamal. He is now 100% ruled out of this game. He has not been included there in the official squad list for this one, and that's something that we knew was coming, and that also means we've been able to plan for his absence. But I think with Yamal, it's interesting right now. What we didn't maybe expect is that this might not be the last game that he misses with this injury. There are a few rumours in the Catalan media right now that Yamal could also miss Getafe at the weekend and Real Oviedo in a week's time. So potentially there's 2 more games that Yamal might be out for, taking that to a total of 4 that he will have missed with this problem. And I think right now Barca are very concerned about the threat of a relapse if Yamal comes back too soon, that he might aggravate this problem actually further. And it is being said right now that Barca's plan may be that he's 100% recovered and 100% ready to face PSG in in the second Champions League game of our campaign here. That's their coming at the start of October. And of course, we also have Real Sociedad at the Camp Nou, we hope, before that game as well. But what would you make of that, guys? If Yamal is to miss more games than just this one, I mean, looking at those games there, Getafe at home, newly promoted Oviedo, I don't think we should be rushing Yamal back, if he's not ready to play in those types of games. You'd hope that we have enough in our squad to deal with his absence if required. And yet again, guys, this is ultimately why we needed that depth. We wanted that extra depth this season, so we didn't have to risk players, so we didn't have to rush them there. We didn't have to take on these unnecessary risks. We want Yamal fit. We want him ready. And we want him healthy, don't forget. Not just now, not just this season, but for many, many years to come. And I think that does bring us very nicely here on to talk about Marcus Rashford right now. Because thinking about that Yamal injury, whether it does linger or not, I mean, what an opportunity right here for Rashford in this team right now. He has the potential to actually have a run of games, very early on in his Barca career. And don't forget, the first few games that he was here, it was a few minutes here and there coming on. It was sporadic at best. But I think now he can really build on what he started in the last game against Valencia. He looked a lot more bright. He got his first assist of his Barca career, a brilliant ball into the box there to set up Rafinha. And I think what's interesting about Rashford right now is that you hear in the media, this is Flick's project. This is a player that Hansi Flick apparently, he's desperate to get the best out of. He was a big part of bringing him here this summer. Flick had a clear plan for Rashford. He had real belief in what he could bring to his team. And now what Flick is wanting to do is just extract that talent. And not only in terms of his quality in the final third, but he wants to get Rashford working. He wants to get him running, really buying in to the philosophy here. And I think what's especially interesting ahead of this game in terms of Rashford is that he is no stranger to facing Newcastle. He is no stranger here to these Premier League oppositions and also playing in these kinds of atmospheres. Rashford has faced Newcastle 15 times in his career, and up until now, he already has 5 goals and 4 assists against them. Will he add to that on Thursday night? We are all hoping that's the case. Because speaking indeed about the opposition that will stand before us on Thursday night, for so many years here, Newcastle fans, they've been waiting for these kinds of nights, these kinds of Champions League occasions, going toe-to-toe with the best. And for so many years, they didn't have European football. They've had a huge fan base there in Newcastle, but they were not able to play the kind of matches that they believed that they should have been. And now they are looking to make up for lost time. Expect a huge atmosphere. And this is also a team right now that's trying to find some form, that's trying to recapture the best version of themselves. Of course, after all of that, let's be honest, nonsense over the summer involving Alexander Isak. All of that constant speculation going on strike. Would he stay? Would he go? Eventually, of course, he has now joined Liverpool. And you can see right here, Newcastle have been affected by all of this. They had a shocking pre-season. They really did. That was really dominated by that Isak saga. Since then, they've only recorded 5 points from 4 Premier League games so far. And I would just say, though, on those games, they have deserved more. I mean, you look at the Liverpool game, they were incredibly unlucky to actually lose that game. They definitely should have beaten Aston Villa as well, in my opinion. And I think right now what you're seeing from Newcastle is a team who probably should be higher up than they are. They are probably delivering more than maybe what the numbers are telling us right now. So we should be aware of that. We should not be writing them off and thinking here, this is a team that are poor or in poor form. They can certainly produce a big performance, especially at home. But I think by far and away, the biggest concern, the biggest threat that Newcastle can pose to Barca on Thursday, it has to be their aerial presence. I mean, you're looking at their team right here. They've got Big Dan Burn at the back. He is 6'7". They've just added Nick Voltemada, 6'6". And then you've got physical presences there, like Fabian Schär. You've also got Joel Linton. I mean, these are players here who can certainly hurt you physically, and Newcastle thrive on that. Every set piece, whether it's a corner, whether it's a free kick, they are looking for that advantage every single time, and they will be especially against this Barcelona team. And we've got to be aware of that, because think back, guys, to when we faced Inter Milan over the 2 legs in the semi-final last season, how many problems they were able to cause us from set-piece situations, thinking there about corners coming in, the goals that we conceded, and of course it ended up really costing us on that occasion. So I'm interested to see now how much Barca have learned from those kinds of experiences. Have we developed? Have we improved from defending those kinds of situations? And I would keep a very close eye on Nick Voldemade, the club record signing there for Newcastle. 80 million euros they paid to get him in from Stuttgart this season, and he obviously is the big Isak replacement. But I think it's important to stress here, he is not just the big guy up front. You know, he scored a brilliant header for Newcastle on his debut at the weekend, but he's so much more than that there. He moves very well, he's a great dribbler, he's got quick feet inside of the box there, and expect him to get involved in play, to drop in as well at times. And I think we've got to be aware of every move of his there. He is going to be the vocal point of Newcastle. He's got an aerial threat, he's a physical threat, but he can also play as well. He's technically very, very sound. We have to keep him quiet, and that puts extra emphasis on who Flick will go with in defence. Because let's move on right here to the potential starting lineup and all of these big selection dilemmas that Flick has before the game. We spoke about a few of them yesterday, but there's so many, I would say, in many positions here in this Barca team. Flick has got a decision to make, but that, as we've said, is only a good thing. Because starting here in goal, there's no decision there. Joan Garcia is about to make his Champions League debut, and this is what we signed him for. These are the kinds of nights, the kinds of occasions where we need his confidence. We need him to lead that back line, to organise those in front of him. And what we will also need in this game is him to be brave and bold, coming for those crosses. You know, making sure that area balls coming into the box, he's going to be aware of them. And you can't forget about his height, his presence in the box, and how key that is going to be for Barca. Because then along the back line, I think Jules Koundé, I would put him in there, but I don't think that's guaranteed. I would not be all that surprised to see Eric Garcia at right back. We've seen him in every game so far this season, but in my opinion, I would go with Koundé here. Let's go with the experience, let's go with the ever-dependable man at right back. Koundé, for me, needs a big performance here, but I would back him to deliver one. And on the other side, massive night for Gerard Martin. I mean, we saw him deployed in the Champions League semi-finals against Inter. I think we can all understand and we can all acknowledge here, you know, he's trying to grow, he's trying to improve, he's certainly there moving in the right direction. Flick has a lot of faith there in Gerard Martin, and let's see what he's got now. Let's see what he can deliver at the start of this brand new Champions League campaign. But I think then, massive questions at centre-back. You know, who is going to partner Pau Kubasi? He, of course, is going to take up one of those slots at centre-back. And then alongside him, for me, I wouldn't go with Eric. You know, I wouldn't play him at centre-back as we've seen him recently. I just don't think the physical nature is there. I just don't think the height is there. I think they would really look to take advantage of that, Newcastle. Because then you've got Christensen, you've got Araujo. They're much bigger in stature. They can certainly handle the physical battles. You've got Christensen, he's 6'2". Araujo's a bit taller at 6'3". But if it was up to me, I would actually go for Christensen here, because I would also look at him in the same way that Rashford has a lot of experience in the Premier League. So does Christensen. You know, he's faced Newcastle on a number of occasions. He's used to these kinds of attacking players, the way that Premier League teams play, the intensity that they try to bring. I would play Christensen for that reason, but I wouldn't be surprised if Flick does go with Araujo, if he is thinking full-on physicality, get amongst it there, really take the battle to Newcastle. Araujo might get the nod, but I wouldn't rule out Christensen, which then moves us into midfield. And can I just say right here, guys, all eyes on Pedri. You know, forget about what Newcastle can do, forget about the threats that they have, what they can bring to this game. Find Pedri. That should be Barca's philosophy in this game. Make sure that Pedri has possession of the ball, make sure that he can orchestrate things there in midfield, because if we get him on the ball regularly enough, he can make things happen. You know, he can take control of this match in our favour, and that, of course, has to be the plan on our side. But of course, what happens when we lose the ball? What happens when we're not in possession? Well, I would actually start Marc Gasardo. I was very impressed with what he brought to the game defensively and out of possession against Valencia. I also think he's very, very underrated on the ball as well. He can provide some cutting-edge passes. And for me, Casado can get amongst it. He can certainly live here with any intensity, with the pace that Newcastle are going to look to bring to this game. So for me, especially with Frankie only just coming back, throwing him into a game like this, it might be a little bit too much. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Frankie is there. It's not a decision that would be crazy from Hansi Flick. I think Pedri and Frankie in midfield could do a very, very good job as well. But I just think with the way that Casado has been playing, with the characteristics that he has, it might just suit him this kind of occasion. Because then we move to the attacking areas. And of course, you're looking at Rafinha. He was unbelievable. He was instrumental in our success in the Champions League last season. So I cannot wait to see what he is going to produce this time around. And again, he also has Premier League experience. I think Firmino, he's earned his spot. It's as simple as that right here. He has to start in that number 10 role. He was outstanding against Valencia. He's got the ability to score goals in any kind of situation. He's exactly the kind of player you want in this kind of away game where there could be a bit of space opening up. Then for me, I would play Rashford on the left-hand side. I would start him once again. I would try and get some consistency, some more cohesion going with these attacking players all playing together. But then I think in the 9, Lewandowski comes back. I think that is the decision that we will definitely see from Hansi Flick. That's not to sort of erase what Ferran has done in the season so far, or what he was able to do last season, but I just think in this kind of game, Lewandowski starts. And what you also can't forget, it's not only about the goal scoring. We saw how good the finishing can be. 2 fantastic goals against Valencia. But also don't forget, Lewandowski can defend. He is a very experienced player there in his own penalty area, defending free kicks, defending corner kicks. He's very, very good and underrated at that. So that could be another part of Hansi Flick's thinking. But don't forget, guys, Ferran can still affect the game. He was outstanding coming off the bench, making an impact there as the super sub last season. There's so many other players as well who should be desperate to make an impact. Dani Olmo, for me, should definitely be one of those. He's got to come up with some big performances here to work his way back in. But you've got to believe we've got enough. You've got to believe here the quality is there for Barca to go away to a tough stadium, to a tough team in the Champions League, and to hopefully come out on top. Because thinking right here about my match prediction, this is a big one. It feels big. It feels like a really important game here for Barca in terms of momentum and confidence, not only in this competition, but in the season as a whole here. We want to start a run. We want to really start kicking into top gear here. And I think we can do it. I think we're going to go to St. James's Park. I think we're going to win. And I'm going to go Barca 3, Newcastle 1. It might be tough to keep a clean sheet. They can be a bit of a handful at times. But we will create chances. We will have opportunities. And I'm backing us to score the goals on Thursday, guys. So please let me know down below. How are you feeling? What emotions are going through you right now? And how do you see this game going? What's your score prediction? What would your lineup be? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. And yet again, big thank you here on the channel to Coopert. Please do go and check that out, guys, using the link down below. They will save you money. And in this day and age, you cannot ask for more than that. I will see you after the game for all of the match reaction, but thank you for the great support. And let's go and get this win. But until next time, as always, Vejka, El Barça.